Good morning, welcome back to Morning Express, 10th of February. We're glad you're watching. It is 8:16 a.m. Chris Foot is with us in studio to talk more about the Kenya Film Commission, KFC, not the fried chicken, but Kenya Film Commission. And the biggest thing, Chris, when you're talking about our industry, we have other really huge, major industries around the world. And for Kenya, we don't really get to hear much, you know, about what's happening, what we're doing. There's a whole lot of lack of clarity for Wananchi, for Kenyans, but also you being in the commission, what would you say where we're at now as a country in our film industry?
Good. Well, morning, Sophia. Thanks very much for having me on here. It's very interesting. You're quite right. We need to do a lot more in terms of telling people what we're doing.
Yeah.
And we've just at KFC just brought in a corporate affairs manager who will be doing that now. And I think something that people need to be aware of as well. We have on the board, KFC board, we have industry stakeholders. So we encourage them to tell their associations, to tell their members and their constituents. And there seems to be a little bit of a breakdown in that information going out as well. But we need to up our game in terms of communication.
Right.
But where the industry is at the moment, it's very interesting times at the moment. We're trying to define what is Kenyan film at the moment. Are we Riverwood? Are we Bollywood? Are we you know, Nigerian-based, you know, whatever. There's so many different ways we should be looking at it. And really, Kenya Film Commission, our mandate's mainly twofold. One is to help build up our local industry, film industry. And the second is to get people to come and make movies in this country. Because there's countries out there, like Nigeria, who employ 1 million people in film. It contributes about 2% of GDP. It brings in about $500 million. There's models out there. There's New Zealand, which, you know, countries fly there to go and make movies, and every movie goes there and drops $20–30 million for one movie. So we're trying to change the mindset as well of people to show them that actually film is something that could contribute to the economy. Where we're at the moment, interesting times actually for us. We've come through quite a rocky stage. I joined the board a year ago. Before that, there was slight disunity within the board. We had been a while without a chairman. Now we've got a very united board, which is great. Our organization had been treated a little bit like the sort of ginger-haired stepson. We've now brought that in. We've recruited a whole lot of new staff for the industry. We've got people like production liaison people there now who are there to help filmmakers deal with the different arms of government, immigration, KRA, etc., and the counties. We've got somebody there full-time now who's going to be dealing with film funds around the world and film festivals around the world, so that stakeholders can have access to those resources. So there's a lot of good things happening. It's taken a while. We've got a lot to do. I think last year we took filmmakers to Discop, which is a forum in South Africa where you can go and sell all your produce in terms of film and TV. We took people to Cannes where they had a chance to mix with some of the greats in terms of the film industry. And also we managed to sign an agreement with the Nigerians and with the French, which was very exciting. But one of the key things we've been working on and we're going forward on is this whole thing of making sure film and TV is not Nairobi-centric. We have a devolved county system at the moment. We really are pushing sort of workshops in the counties. We've got a workshop with the governors happening in about 2 weeks' time. We're inviting them to explain to them what film can do for their counties. So that's quite exciting. And one of the things we're trying to do at the moment is help them sort of turn their social halls into film, into cinemas. So we developed this film culture, so there's a place where Kenyan film and TV can be shown, because at the moment we're slightly lacking on that. But so exciting stuff happening, a few issues in the past, but going forward, some really good stuff happening.
The thing about getting people to hear more about what you're doing, having a peer person on board, good. But the question also in as far as what has ailed the industry, why we seem to have not moved or made any progress, become a vibrant, you know, sort of industry. What do you think are those challenges that really have just been there, other than the leadership and of course lack of staffing?
Well, the industry that's a very pertinent question. One of the big issues we've got, if we start at the micro level at the moment, there's been a lot of disunity within the industry, and stakeholders need to be a bit more united than they have been. And also a lot of them need to change from, a lot of films and TVs had been funded by civic society, so hadn't been funded on a profit model. And we're trying to encourage people to say, listen, make films and TV that is commercially viable. In fact, KFC now, we've stopped supporting anything that's not commercially viable because we have to deal with taxpayers' money. That's one side. The other dynamic, of course, is media houses, you guys, local content issue. As long as we are buying stuff from South America, a couple of $1,000s, or stuff from Nigeria to put on our TVs, we're not going to be encouraging our local film industry. And we are really pushing for local content. Now, We've got a meeting coming up in about a month's time where we're bringing together media owners who also sit on our board and stakeholders who sit on our board and say, listen, let's come up with a reasonable figure for that percentage quota.
Yeah.
So that we're not killing the media houses, but we're also providing an exit strategy for filmmakers to display their stuff. And also it's part of a cultural thing. You're branding a country. We don't be branded as Nigeria or South American soaps. So if media content goes up in terms of local content, that's great.
But the reason why it has not been up is because of the quality. What is being produced here is not good. So the media houses, everybody opts for stuff from outside.
In defense of the industry there, it's not the quality. We've seen things like Nairobi Half-Life. We've seen, I mean, Africa Magic have done a great thing in terms of promoting local content here and some of the quality stuff that's coming out. The problem has been the cost of it. And this comes out to the other wing, which we're really working on at the moment. We're doing a cabinet paper at the moment for film incentives. Most countries around the world which have a vibrant films industry, and if you look in Africa, the countries that have got them are Morocco and South Africa in particular, have wonderful incentives from government. South Africa, if you go and make a film or produce a TV there, the government gives you a 35% rebate. And what they've worked out is for every dollar the government gives somebody, we'll give them $2 back. So we've got to change the mindset in government that actually, let's kickstart this industry, let's invest some money in it. South Africa puts aside $150 million a year purely for film and TV. Wow. We don't even do that in shillings, probably not even in cents. I mean, it really is ridiculous. So we need to, we need to do all these different things at the same time to start building up this industry. And you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, it will take a while, but I think government's beginning to realise the value that film adds. Stakeholders are suddenly realising that actually they need government. So you know, when people say, oh, we don't need the Kenya Film Commission, you need somebody to push the national agenda for film and TV. And if you just leave it to individual production houses, they will always, as businesses, look after themselves. So media owners are coming on board. Government is looking at incentives. We're trying to do one-stop shop now. So if you're filming, you can deal with KRA, immigration, KWS, the police, all of that sort of stuff. We're trying to help with all of that and coordinate and bring everyone together so that production costs come down, because production costs are still pretty prohibitive in this country. But with the right context, they can come down, and if media houses start buying the stuff, then we'll see it come down even further, and then Kenyans will be seeing good quality Kenyan TV productions on screen. On screen.
So those subsidies and those you know, numbers coming down, are they just for the outside people coming to make movies here in Kenya, or also for the Kenyans?
No, for the Kenyans
as well.
Yeah, it is for Kenyans as well. And this is again another misconception that there's always this tension with local stakeholders saying, oh, you need to do more for us. And the international guys saying, well, we're only going to come to Kenya if you do something for us. And actually there's a synergy there, which is if a Hollywood movie comes here with a budget of $40 million and they drop 10% of that here, they leave $4 million in this country. We also get them to try and use Kenyan film. We've got quality here. So if they use Kenyan technicians get access to world caliber filmmaking. So that's not bad. But then also the runoff in terms of where they stay and the drivers and the taxis and the hotels and the food and the equipment they hire, all of that runs off into the economy. So incentives on one hand will encourage those guys to come, but the incentives also are drawn specifically for our local industry here. You know, if there is, I mean, take the film fund at the moment, the Vijana Film Fund at the moment, which you've probably seen we're having a few issues with, and just to clarify, we're not involved. Kenya Film Commission is not involved with the Vijana Film Fund. And we have no access to that money, we have no way of dispersing that money.
But why is it that we have a Vijana Film Fund? You brought it up, because then it's the question of, are you replicating roles? Are you not working together with the Similango-led youth fund, the Kenya Enterprise Development Fund? So why is it there's that? Why not give the money to the Kenya Film Commission?
You know, that happened before I joined the board, and there has been a bone of contention, and we had a misunderstanding as to what the role of Kenya Film Commission was with the film fund. And we've all agreed, in the interest of everybody, that's a film fund run by the Youth Enterprise thing. We back off, let them deal with that, whatever. We had a slight concern at some stage as to, you know, the processes and the return for your buck in terms of taxpayers' money. So we've kind of let that go, but there's some very good people involved in the Vijana Film Fund, people who have got amazing amount of talent, who've done a lot for the film and TV industry in this country. You know, good luck to them, and we wish them well, and we'll stand by them on that sort of side. And yeah, I hope it goes well. But we need to focus on the broader picture, and we're also raising money for a seed fund ourselves. And the seed fund will be, one of the big issues is if you try and approach one of these international film funds to raise money, or an international investor, or indeed a Kenyan investor. We ran an investor forum last year for the film industry. the first thing they ask you is they say, who else has put money in? It's like any other business. And what we would like the Kenya Film Commission to do, if we believe your film's going to make money or your TV series is going to make money, say, listen, we will seed a little bit of money, okay, into that, on the basis that if it does, we can get that money back one day. But if not, we've seeded it, then you can go to the market and say, listen, Kenya Film Commission has given us, not a huge amount of money, but they've shown us that they believe in our project. Will you please give us some money? And that's how we'd like to go forward.
Okay, in terms of funding, capacity to be able to do all the great things you're talking about, and you'll tell us a little bit more about what you plan to do, how well funded are you? Capacity, do you have it to implement?
That is the perennial problem in government at the moment, is money. And one of the big concerns we have is we've moved from the Ministry of Information and Communication to Ministry of Sports, Culture and the Arts. We've got an incredibly supportive Cabinet Secretary and PS who really can understand the value of what film can do. We now have to persuade Treasury to up their game in terms of the money we get, because we cannot deliver a vibrant film industry without money. And it's one of the main concerns we have is we need more money. And take the case of, we had planned to do a film festival this year. But we don't have the money to do it, so we'll do it next in 2015. We've got Kalasha Awards, etc. coming up, but we need deep pockets, and trying to explain to people it's an investment. You put in $1, we'll give you back $2 in the next year or two, and it's good for our industry, it's good for GDP, but we're short of money.
You're short of money.
We really are. That's a problem. If you're on Treasury and you're listening, please come and talk to me. We need that money.
You know, last week I talked to two young men, 22, 21 years old, and we're talking about they've opened a production company, and the biggest thing for them, you know, the challenge they said is that talent development, how to be able to get them compete with other people at the world stage, and how to actually still make a living off of this for them, in helping those who want to make life from this industry. What do you do as a commission?
No, very, very, very important. We've been working on a new film curricula at the moment, which we really believe there needs to be a centre of excellence in this country to train up that talent and nurture that talent. Currently there isn't. There's a few people who are doing it, but we feel it can be done a lot better. So last year we spent quite a bit of our money on a film curricula. We're working with the ministry at the moment for that, and we're really keen either to set up a film school or to partner with somebody to set up a film school. And that film school should not only have the academic side, it should have practical people who've actually, you know, cut their noses on the grindstone in the film industry, helping them. That's number one. Last year we ran workshops across the counties. Again, people didn't know that. We ran workshops in Lamu and Kisii, and that included script writing, production, camera work. We want to do more of that this year and encourage those people you're talking about. Go there, learn some skills, and see if we can generate. One of the big issues we have in Kenya at the moment is the quality of script writing. We really don't have the quality of script writing. We've got the great stories, the great Kenyan stories. We've got the technical capability, but we don't have the script writing. So this year, again, we're planning to bring in some professional script writers, people who write blockbusters around the world. Come here, work with our script writers, turn out good Kenyan stories. That's the sort of thing we need to be doing to develop that talent you're talking about, because it's out there, and we need people to realize that it's as good as becoming a lawyer or a doctor. You can make a good living, and you can explain to your parents, I'm not going to become an artist who's, you know, going to live off you for the rest of your life. There's actually money to be made here.
There is, and Lupita has helped, I guess, for many to see.
Well, I can tell you something that's happening there. We've been talking to her people for the last month, trying to get her out here.
Okay.
And it's very much in their court at the moment. We would love to bring her out here, if only for the fact she's a great role model of what can happen in this country. She used to be on Phoenix theatres and, you know, on the boards doing her acting, and look where she's got to. And we'd like to hold that up as an example of where Kenyan actors and actresses can go. Now, it's, you know, not to steal her light, that's for her to come and push, but what we are trying to do as KFC is bring her out here. So we're just waiting to hear back from them, and if she does, we'll make sure you get an invite to that gala.
Yes, we must come. Kenya Film Classification Board, are these part of your people? They banned Wolf of Wall Street, and in essence, by doing that, they got the movie popular. It was hot cake. Everybody wanted to watch it, to know why are they banning this film, and others, of course.
I gather it from friends of mine who've seen it. It was a little bit fruity, that movie. I wouldn't certainly go and watch it with my pastor, but you know, I think we have to be very clear. They're a sister organisation to us. We have nothing to do with the Film Certification Board. Within the ministry, you have the Department of Film Services, you have Kenya Film Commission, and you have the regulatory body, which is the Film Classification, the Film Certification Board. They basically have to put a label on it, and I think it would be inappropriate for me to comment on why they did or didn't do that. We all know the reasons they did that, whether they're valid ones or not. I think that I'll leave that for them to explain. They had their reasons. But of course, the problem in this day and age, when you do ban anything, people immediately stream it the next day. And I'm sure a lot of Kenyans who weren't going to watch it have watched it now and probably need therapy.
Exactly. But good to know that, because that is one of the things that everybody wondered, you know, what, as much as they did explain what informed it, it's just that the reaction and the response was complete opposite from what they intended to achieve from the same. When looking at the industry at large, you've mentioned some of the other sister organizations. How many are there, and what's the hierarchy like? Who's the mother hen? Who's at the top of this?
The way from government perspective, it starts with the ministry, and then under the ministry, they have a Department of the Arts, which we fall under, and we work with the Department of Film Services, Film Certification Board, and ourselves. One does licensing, and that's the Department of Film Services. That's really their main remit, and a little bit of marketing of government-produced sort of media. Then we have the Film Certification Board, regulatory, and then you have us, Kenya Film Commission, whose real job is to market and develop Kenyan talent and to bring people here. Then on our board, we have representatives of the industry. So we have people from a representative from the Kenya Film Television Producers Association, and she's absolutely a sterling lady, gets stuff done, they have an outgoing chairman, I think, who's leaving in a month's time, so we'll see who fills that and if it's somebody we can work with. And then we also have the Film Association represented on our board. And we have Riverwood, Third Force, basically the Riverwood people are represented as well through Monique Magera on our board as well. So our board actually represents a lot of the industry. So it kind of pains a little bit when there's noise from the industry, when they actually have representation making the decisions on our board.
The stakeholders are all in there.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, they need to kind of sort out their communication there. And sort of, but there's a lot of different associations, and they're ever growing, and it's quite hard to sort of make sure you're...
Is there synergy? Is there coming together, or is everybody doing their own little thing? You say the classification people should explain their decision to ban, but in essence there should be that sort of, you know, these are our people, and we agree or endorse this kind of decision because, you know, it does this for the industry. Yeah,
well, I think within government we are... In fact, after this, I've got a meeting with the Film Certification Board and DFS, because we're really pushing for the film policy and a film bill, which will deal with a lot of these issues. A lot of groundwork had been done prior to my chairmanship, but then with the change of the constitution, with the task force on state corporations by the president, and a few other things, that we've had to change a few of those things. So we're meeting again to start pushing that after this. But that again will bring some synergy. Within the associations, they really need to sort themselves out on that regard, because it's almost like Kenyans and our churches. You know, everyone... You didn't like your church, you now go and set up your own church, and everyone becomes a bishop. So we're dealing with so many associations now, and there's about 3 or 4 more in the offing. Every couple of months somebody comes to me and says, Chris, we set up another association to deal with this aspect of film. Usually it means that they fell out with their parent organization, and it's that very sort of interesting thing where, who do we deal with? We try and accommodate as many as possible. We also people have to be aware of the fact that we look at the national interest. So it might sometimes be slightly different to your particular association's interest. So we try and unite them. We're going to be doing some forums where we bring them all together. And we're going to just say, let's try and talk and work through some of our issues. They need to change, we need to change. We're working that way. You're working that way.
Digital migration that's coming up, and it expands the market. The space will be bigger. And in terms of the opportunities you see in there, what are those?
I mean, it's a great opportunity. Digital migration, you're going to suddenly have hundreds of channels who need content. And if people need content, it means our production houses will be busy, our actors will be busy, and it's great stuff. And we can only encourage that. We'll also, as it develops, we'll play a little role in that. But I just think on that thing, great news. And production houses are very excited about it. And it's funny, the amount of production houses I know who are not involved in all the sort of the noise, who are actually getting out there, churning out. I mean, there's one production house I know that's churning out 3 or 4 TV series a week. Wow. Because there's a market for it. And you know, a lot of the media houses are realizing they're going to have to start paying proper money now, because otherwise they're going to have no content. And because people are just going to go digital, and you can run digital stations for virtually nothing. All right.
Finally, Chris, going forward, Kenya Film Commission, a lot of work that you said you're already doing right now. What do Kenyans expect to see? And I know you said you're having this person who then will keep everybody updated and posted on what's happening, but what's in the works for the near future? Some of your plans?
Near future, we've got the Governor's Workshop coming up in a couple of weeks. The film policy we're working on in a few hours' time, and Phil Bill. We've got a new Kalasha happening. We'll get you an invitation to that, and that will be I guarantee you this year will be spectacular.
Okay.
That one, we'll get you a ticket for that. It'll be very good. We're doing a cabinet paper in terms of incentives for the film industry, which will be really good. We're launching Kenya at 50 showreel in the next month. Hopefully, we've got county stuff going on in terms of...
Yeah, because county is huge. The
counties are
there. It's huge, huge.
But we need money for that. But we're trying to, get their licensing the same. So if you make a TV series or film in Nairobi, it's the same as in Malindi. Right. Get their county halls turned into screening venues. We're doing more internships. We're bringing out some American and British filmmakers here to have a look at Kenya, see what they can do. They can also then do some forums at the end for our production people. And we've got a lot of stuff going on. We've got digitalization going on at the moment of our historical archives in terms of film. Gosh, I could tell you a whole lot. It's endless. It's very, very exciting. And then hopefully 2015 we'll have this big international film festival in Kenya. So that will be a very sexy thing. And see where it goes. And
we'll be watching.
You'll be watching.
We'll be watching to see what you're doing over at the Kenya Film Commission. Chairman Chris Foot with us this morning. We're glad you're watching Morning Express.